You won't believe what just happened at my apartment lobby. I was waiting for an important package, something I've been excited about for days, when out of nowhere, this HOA Karen stepped in and told me, "Only owners get packages here." At first, I thought she was joking, but no, she was dead serious. She literally stopped the delivery right in front of me, acting like she owned the place. I tried to explain that I live here too, but she wasn't having any of it. It felt like I was being treated like a stranger in my own home. The whole thing got tense fast, with other people watching and whispering, and I started to wonder how far she would go with this. This wasn't just about a package anymore, it turned into a real showdown. I could see the frustration building up inside me, and honestly, I wasn't sure if it was even worth fighting over. But then, things took a wild turn that I never expected. You'll have to stick around, because this HOA Karen didn't just stop at denying me the delivery, it ended with the police showing up. Yes, you heard that right. Somehow, the situation escalated to the point where she got arrested. How did it get that far? What exactly did she do? And how did I end up right in the middle of it all? This story is more than just about a package or some HOA rules. It's about what happens when people abuse their power and how a simple delivery turned into a nightmare. Stay tuned, because in the next part, I'll share exactly what went down, how the police got involved, and what this means for everyone living here. You don't want to miss the crazy details behind this HOA Karen drama. So, here's a little background on what led up to this whole mess. I've been living in this apartment complex for about a year now, renting, not owning, but paying rent like everyone else. The HOA here has always been kind of strict about rules. Nothing crazy, just usual stuff like quiet hours, parking, and yes, package deliveries. Usually, the delivery process is simple. Packages go to the lobby, and anyone who lives here can pick them up or have them delivered to their door. That's how it's always worked for me. But lately, there's been this new HOA board member who's taken it upon herself to enforce rules in a way that feels more controlling than helpful. That's our HOA Karen. She's known in the building for being a bit over the top, always questioning people, calling the shots, and making sure she's involved in everything. A lot of neighbors find her intimidating or just plain annoying, but no one really knew how far she'd take it until now. When my package arrived that day, it was supposed to be straightforward. The delivery guy brought it to the lobby like usual, and I was right there to get it. Then Karen steps in, blocking the way and saying only owners get packages. At first, I thought maybe it was some new HOA policy I hadn't heard about, so I asked her for proof or a notice, but she just repeated the same line, acting like it was law. I was confused and frustrated because I pay rent here, and I'm on the lease. What else am I supposed to do if I can't get my deliveries? Things got heated quickly. I was standing there, trying to stay calm, but she kept pushing, making a scene in front of other residents. People started watching, some whispering, some filming. The delivery guy looked uncomfortable, and honestly, so was I. Then, out of nowhere, someone called the police. I still don't know if it was Karen or one of the neighbors trying to keep the peace. When the police arrived, everything escalated even more. What happened next? Well, that's where it all took a turn I never saw coming. When the police arrived, the whole lobby felt charged with tension. Everyone was watching, holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Karen was standing there, arms crossed, clearly feeling like she had the upper hand. She started telling the officers her side, how she was protecting the building's rules, keeping order, and that I was breaking them by trying to get my package. From her perspective, she was the hero, the one enforcing the law to keep things right. But from mine, it felt like she was just abusing her little bit of power, making a personal issue out of something that shouldn't have been a big deal. What made it even more complicated was hearing some neighbors quietly siding with Karen. A few people whispered about how owners pay more and renters don't have the same rights. It was like I wasn't even fully part of the community in their eyes. But there were also others who quietly shook their heads, clearly uncomfortable with how Karen was acting. It became obvious this wasn't just a package dispute, it was about who really has control in this building and who gets to decide what's fair. As the officers talked to both sides, I noticed the delivery guy shifting nervously. He told the police he'd done his job the same way dozens of times before, left the package in the lobby for residents. He didn't want any trouble either, just trying to get back to his route. But Karen kept insisting the delivery was illegal and that I had no right to claim it. It was frustrating because no one was showing me any official HOA rules or notices about packages being for owners only. It was all just her word against mine. Then, a new twist came when one of the officers asked Karen if she'd spoken to the HOA board about this policy or if there was any written rule. That's when things started to get shaky for her. She hesitated, and the mood shifted a little. What wasn't clear to me at that moment was how deep this conflict would go, not just about a package, but about power, rights, and the unspoken rules that some people use to control others in places where we're supposed to feel safe. And just when I thought it couldn't get more complicated, the officers told Karen she was under arrest. The whole lobby gasped. What did she do that made it come to that? That's where I have to pause for now, because this story's just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The moment the officers said Karen was under arrest, everything felt like it froze. People were whispering, some looking shocked, others almost smiling like they'd been waiting for this moment. But I was still trying to process what had just happened. What could she have done that serious? Up until then, it just seemed like a power trip, someone trying to control how packages get delivered. But now it was clear there was a lot more going on beneath the surface. Karen started protesting loudly, insisting she was just doing her job and protecting the community. She tried to argue with the officers, but they were firm. I caught the look in their eyes. This wasn't just about a simple disagreement anymore. Something about how she behaved, maybe how she treated others in the building, or even something that came out during questioning, pushed the situation into a whole new level. The delivery guy, still standing awkwardly off to the side, looked relieved, like he didn't want to be part of this drama at all. Neighbors were divided, some standing closer to me, quietly offering support, while others still looked uncertain or sided with Karen, maybe afraid of what this arrest might mean for the community rules they live by. The tension in the lobby was thick, like everyone was waiting for a bomb to drop. You could feel the frustration, the resentment, and the confusion all mixing together. What's crazy is that this whole thing started with a package. Something small and everyday turned into a storm that exposed hidden conflicts in our building. The way some people use their roles to intimidate or control, and how renters sometimes get treated differently from owners. It's about trust, respect, and who really has a voice in our own home. Right before Karen was led away, she warned everyone that this wasn't over, that she'd fight back, and the HOA would back her up. That threat hung in the air, heavier than anything else. It was clear this fight wasn't just about packages anymore. Something bigger was coming. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen next. But one thing's for sure, the story isn't finished. Not by a long shot. Just when I thought the worst was behind me and the situation couldn't get any more intense, something unexpected happened that flipped everything upside down. As Karen was being taken away, one of the officers pulled me aside with a serious look on his face. He said there was more to this than just a delivery dispute. Apparently, the HOA had been under investigation for some questionable practices, and Karen was at the center of it. Suddenly, this wasn't just about packages or who gets what in the lobby. It was about something much bigger, something that could change the whole community. I was stunned. I had no idea that HOA had been dealing with legal issues or complaints from other residents. It explained why Karen was so aggressive, so determined to enforce rules no one really agreed with. Maybe she was trying to cover up something or protect herself. The officer hinted that Karen's arrest was connected to those investigations, but he couldn't say much more right now. All I knew was that this little fight over a package was just the surface of a deeper problem. At the same time, word started spreading through the building. Some neighbors were talking about secret meetings, hidden fees, and even threats related to the HOA. It felt like the calm, orderly place I thought I lived in was actually tangled up in drama I never saw coming. The divide between owners and renters wasn't just about packages anymore. It was about control, secrets, and maybe even corruption. Meanwhile, I was left standing in the lobby with my package still in hand, but with a growing feeling that things were far from over. Karen's warning echoed in my mind, and now with this new twist, I realized I might be caught in the middle of something way bigger than a simple delivery dispute. The tension in the building wasn't just personal, it was about the future of the whole community. I'm left wondering, what's really going on behind those HOA doors? And how deep does this conflict go? Stay tuned, because this story is about to get even more intense, and you won't want to miss what happens next. As the days passed, things inside the building got more tense than ever. The HOA meetings became heated, with residents demanding answers about the secret investigations and Karen's sudden arrest. I decided to attend one of these meetings, hoping to get to the bottom of what was really going on. What I found was shocking. The HOA board was forced to admit they had been hiding financial mismanagement and unfair policies that favored owners over renters, with Karen playing a key role in enforcing these rules aggressively. It became clear that the package incident was just a spark that ignited long-standing frustrations within the community. The turning point came when the board agreed to remove Karen from her position and promised to revise the rules to treat all residents fairly, regardless of whether they owned or rented. I finally felt like the community was coming together, standing up against abuse of power and unfair treatment. It was a victory for everyone who had felt sidelined or intimidated by the HOA's strict control. But just when I thought the story was over, there was one last twist. A few days after the meeting, I received a mysterious letter slipped under my door. It wasn't signed, but inside were photos and documents suggesting that some members of the HOA were still trying to cover up more serious issues, things that went beyond financial troubles. There were hints of illegal surveillance, personal data being collected without consent, and even attempts to silence residents who spoke out. That revelation shook me. The community I thought I was helping to save might still be at risk. It was clear this wasn't just about packages or even one bad HOA member. It was a deeper battle for the soul of the place I called home. And now I'm more determined than ever to keep fighting, to make sure the truth comes out. So, while Karen's arrest felt like an ending, it's really just the beginning of a bigger story. Stay with me, because this fight isn't over, and what happens next could change everything for all of us living here. After uncovering those disturbing documents, I knew I couldn't just stay quiet. I started talking to more neighbors, gathering their stories, and together we pushed for transparency and change. The HOA had to open up about their practices, and thankfully, many residents supported the call for a new, fairer leadership. Slowly but surely, things began to shift. Rules were rewritten to ensure everyone, owners and renters alike, had equal rights, including access to package deliveries. No one should be stopped from receiving what's theirs, especially not by someone claiming authority without clear rules. Looking back, the whole HOA Karen stopped my delivery moment was really a symptom of a bigger problem, a community struggling with fairness, trust, and respect. What started as a frustrating incident turned into a fight for everyone's voice in our home. It showed me how important it is to stand up when something feels wrong, even if it seems small at first. I've learned that in any community, power can sometimes be misused, but when people come together, change is possible. It's about watching out for each other and holding those in charge accountable. No one should have to feel like an outsider in their own building. So, to anyone watching this, whether you're dealing with a difficult HOA, unfair rules, or just feeling unheard, remember you're not alone. Speak up, gather support, and don't let fear stop you from fighting for your rights. This story isn't just mine. It's about all of us who want to live in communities where respect and fairness come first. Thanks for following along with this crazy journey. If you've ever had your own HOA drama or package troubles, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories just like this. Until next time, stay strong and stay united.